I'd like to see the people get the money. I'd like to see all of the money that's going to the Democrat insurance companies. You know, the insurance companies are making a fortune. They're up 1,700% and more, and they're taking in hundreds and the current Unaffordable Care Act, commonly known as Barack Hussein Obamacare, was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad health care at much too high a cost, and you see now that the steep increase in premiums that's being demanded by the Democrats, it was never any good, Obamacare. It was done for the benefit of insurance companies, which totally control the Democrats. That's why you could have a strike on January 30th. You could have another shutdown, because the Democrats are totally in the hands of, they're totally controlled by the insurance companies, big wealthy companies. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care, and you'll get much better health care at a much lower price. And the only losers will be the insurance companies that have gotten rich.
President Trump did something absolutely brilliant this weekend. His weapon? A series of Truth Social posts that completely changed the government shutdown narrative. And I'm going to show you exactly how he did it, starting with Senator Mark Wayne Mullen discussing it yesterday.
The president said this morning, I'm recommending to Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad health care provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so they can purchase their own much better health care and have money left over.
Absolutely brilliant move by the president, and I agree with him 100%. These insurance companies, we're subsidizing them to have high health premiums anyways. Keep in mind, ACA, affordable health care, has not been affordable. President Obama said it was going to drop premiums by 25%. As we sit here right now, without the premium increase that the health care industry is putting on the American people, it's up 221%. And why are we subsidizing them an additional 4% when they're making record profits? Which I'm a capitalist. I'm okay with insurance companies making money, but taxpayers shouldn't pad their pockets even more on top of that. What President Trump is saying is, hey, let's give the money to the individual and let them choose their own health care and use the money for actual health care rather making insurance companies even more profitable. I think it's brilliant.
Now, if you've been watching the mainstream media, you'd think the Republican Party is, quote, in a new civil war. They're claiming the ultimate battle came when Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes. Every major media outlet pushed that talking point Saturday. But here's what they're not telling you. The Republican Party has been in a civil war ever since Donald Trump walked down the escalator in 2015. It's between rhinos and the new Republican Party. This isn't news. What is news is that Trump just exposed the biggest lie Democrats have been selling for weeks, that we're protecting the little guy by holding out for Obamacare subsidies in the shutdown. I'm Barbara Boyd, and I've been studying American system economics, the economic framework Trump is using, since we rediscovered these ideas in the 1970s. I've also reported extensively on the British instigated coup against President Trump since it began in 2016. Today, I'm going to report on two interrelated stories. First, how Trump's economic offensive this weekend kicked senators and congressmen into line to fight for the policies you voted for in November. And second, I'm giving you a major update on the fight against the deep state, where the walls are finally closing in on the real conspirators. You'll see that even the BBC, the crown jewel of British propaganda, is taking a big hit. So buckle up and please like and share this video right now. It helps us build our audience to the size we need to win this fight. Here again is what I thought was the president's killer Truth Social post. Democrats claim to be working for the little guy and driving down your health insurance. But the Obamacare scam goes straight to their best friends in the insurance industry. They are making a killing, while health coverage only gets worse. If Democrats get their way again, they're in for another huge payday at the expense of the American people. No deal. Republicans should give money directly to your personal health savings accounts that I expanded in our great, big, beautiful bill. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Throughout the last month, old school Republican candidates mostly hid as Democrats attacked Trump's affordability crisis. Inflation is way down, but it's not fully cured. Instead of telling the truth and supporting Trump's tariff-based rebuild of the U.S. economy, the Republican Party's losers campaigned on the wedged social issue of 4 years running: boys and girls bathrooms and sports. That when people are having a hard time making ends meet. That's why it was refreshing to see Senator Mark Wayne Mullen respond to Marjorie Taylor Greene's complaint that the White House isn't giving the cost of living any attention it's deserved. Let's listen to his answer.
I don't know if I agree with that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she's great, but I don't know what she's talking about. Walmart just came out and said that grocery prices are down over 20% this time last year. They said Thanksgiving, and that was the CEO of Walmart. Amazon said that the trinkets, the things you were buying last year for Christmas, are down. We have inflation that was at a high of 9.1%, average of 5% underneath Biden. Today it's hovering around 2.5%. Energy prices are down, the lowest they've been since President Trump was last in office. And we know energy is the backbone of inflation. You can't make a product, you can't deliver a product without factoring the energy costs into it. So prices are down. What is up is protein, which is a lot of people, protein meaning pork, chicken, and beef. The president made a huge step at that the other day. If you saw a Truth Social post, he said he's going to look at the meat packers because the meat packing industry is consolidated, and 3 of the top 4 meat packers are foreign owned. 2 of them out of Brazil, 1 of them in China. That's a national security issue, plus the difference between what we sell, I'm a rancher myself, what we sell cattle for, what we call in the hoof or feed cattle, and what the retail is. There's such a huge gap. It's the biggest gap we see in any industry, from a product being made to the product of retail. That's where the president's focus is.
Senator Mullen just talked about the other great idea the president put out: going after the big 4 meat processing cartels who have made meat a luxury item. Now the Justice Department has been tasked to investigate and remedy that. Senate Republicans let Democrats lie for weeks. They're providing billions in continuing subsidies to Americans added to Obamacare during COVID was somehow a righteous necessity. Trump turned that completely around by showing that the only people who benefit from this are the rapacious Wall Street and London insurance companies. Health insurers' profits have jumped 230% since the Unaffordable Care Act passed. Now the shutdown has started to be solved, and there is a big opportunity to fix the mess, which is Obamacare. Trump has already aimed at the root causes of spiraling costs through Maha's attack on chronic disease and regulatory capture by Big Pharma. The president took another step last week in bringing prescription drug prices down with his agreement on GLP-1 drug pricing. Similar moves are underway with other costly drugs. Now we need to find ways to get Wall Street out of running medical practices and hospitals. And we also need a whole lot more doctors and nurses. Otherwise, Treasury Secretary Bessent provided an accurate account yesterday of where inflation stands with Trump as opposed to Biden after just 10 months. Let's hear him out.
What we're not going to do is what happened under the Biden administration, where the administration and the media gaslit everyone and said, there's a vibe session. You don't understand how good you had it. And what happened then was we had the worst inflation 40 or 50 years, 22, 23%. But the basket of goods and services for working Americans was up more than 30%. And what we're seeing is we had to stop the increase first. Now we are starting to see prices level off, come down. Gasoline is down, interest rates are down, so mortgages are down, and I think we are making substantial progress on that. And I think over the coming months and the next year, prices are going to come down.
As we build new plants and equipment and bring supply chains home with Trump's tariff and trade policies, Trump's focus is on skilled jobs with high wages for workers. Secretary Bessent has repeatedly said that they're aiming for wage levels which can outpace any inflation. Now, the simplest definition of inflation I've ever found is too much money chasing too few productive goods. The cure is to build and change the entire equation with productive jobs. Not only that, building out the economy of the future changes human identities in ways completely opposite to the pessimism and despair which the low-wage gig economy breeds. We can tell you the real story because we focus on dynamics and facts rather than manufactured outrage. So now the big conspiracy begins to get a case to match. Are we finally going after the British? There is now a federal grand jury meeting in Florida, which is issuing some 30 subpoenas covering the opening of the Russiagate criminal conspiracy against the Trump 2016 campaign and the first Trump presidency. Subpoena recipients include John Brennan, Peter Strzok, and Lisa Page, among others, and I think they'll work their way up to Barack Hussein Obama. While that's great, I keep insisting that you have to start with the Brits when you're looking at the opening and continuation of this conspiracy against Donald Trump and the American people. A now infamous Guardian article admitted the whole deal. And like all good British intelligence regime change operations, particularly delicate ones like those against the United States, they were quick to tidy things up. After manufacturing dirt on Trump and illegally surveilling the Trump campaign, Robert Hannigan, who was then head of GCHQ, their NSA, resigned unexpectedly in January of 2017. He said he needed to spend time with his family. And after MI6 agent Christopher Steele peddled his fabricated dirty dossier on Trump and Russia, the lead British government security official, Sir Mike Lyle Grant, privately told the Trump White House that British intelligence did not find Christopher Steele trustworthy. That was after Sir Richard Dearlove, the former head of MI6, Sir Christopher Andrew, the Dean of British Intelligence History and the former British ambassador to Russia, and others claimed Steele was their golden boy on all things Russian. Now, there are hopeful signs that this cover-up is ending. First, the heads of the chief British propaganda arm, the BBC, just got canned because of what they did to Donald Trump just ahead of last November's election. Seems they doctored a major BBC documentary about Trump just ahead of the election. They clipped film to make it seem the president told his supporters to storm the Capitol on January 6, 2021. BBC Director General Tim Davie and CEO Deborah Turnus announced their resignations yesterday. They didn't just resign, they got canned. It follows the Daily Telegraph getting its hands on internal BBC documents from whistleblowers about this episode. That's not all. It appears that the administration is targeting the top official for the Center for Countering Digital Hate, Imran Ahmad, for deportation from the U.S. That group has been the main British censorship arm here. It was founded by Morgan McSweeney, Keir Starmer's chief of staff. McSweeney, you might remember, turned up leading the British Labour Party team, which came to the U.S. to campaign for Kamala Harris and defeat Donald Trump. And because of Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson, the walls are now closing in on former special counsel Jack Smith. Smith's wildly illegal Arctic Frost FBI investigation is now under the spotlight. Arctic Frost was aimed at nothing less than jailing Trump for life and destroying critical organizations within the entire Republican Party. All of it to be accomplished ahead of the 2024 presidential election on orders from Joe Biden. It's the last op, if you will, of the seditious conspiracy which began with Russiagate in 2015, 2016, and ended with the January 6, 2021 overthrow of our government. Smith not only commenced 2 bogus criminal prosecutions against Donald Trump, he issued 197 subpoenas to 34 individuals and 163 businesses. His fishing expedition included the unprecedented seizure of President Trump's official White House phone and call data from Republican senators and congressmen. The 197 subpoenas requested testimony, communications, and records related to at least 430 named Republican individuals and entities. Some of the records Smith subpoenaed from banks, individuals, and businesses included communications with media companies such as CBS, Fox News, Fox Business, Newsmax, Sinclair, and others. Communications with, quote, any member, employee, or agent of the legislative branch of the U.S. government. Communications with White House advisors such as Stephen Miller, Dan Scavino, Jared Kushner, Lara Trump, and others. Statistical data and analysis relating to donors and fundraising efforts. Broad financial data relating to conservative individuals and entities. You see, they wanted to take out the entire surviving apparatus of the Republican Party after Trump was in jail for life. These subpoenas were lawfare kill shots. J.P. Morgan Chase, for example, was subpoenaed by Smith for financial records concerning Truth Social. Truth Social didn't exist in the post-2020 election period Smith was appointed to investigate, but it was a vital outlet for the Trump campaign in 2024. J.P. Morgan debanked Truth Social as a result of the subpoena and refused to tell Truth Social why. Here's Devin Nunes telling Maurice Bartiromo the story yesterday.
Well, when the Arctic frost went after our bank records at Trump Media, that's inexplicable because we didn't exist. So what reason did they have to go after us? But I think furthermore, why did JP Morgan target us and not tell us? We're a Florida company. I mean, I can't believe this is not against Florida law, that it wouldn't be against federal law. But furthermore, during that time period, Maria, when we were a private company just going public, JP Morgan then debanked us at that time. Now, luckily enough, we had other banks in line, First Citizens, but right at the time that we were going public in early 2024, in the spring of 2024, right at the height of the campaign, we were trying to get our company that saved free speech, Truth Social, saving free speech, making sure that we all had a voice. At that time, JP Morgan inexplicably debanked us. And we need to know why that happened. You know, after discussing this with them for several months, going back and forth, it looked political at the time. But now we know that they were under subpoenas that they didn't tell us about as they were cooperating with the Biden Department of Justice.
What do you want to see Congress do this week as it relates to health care and the expiring ACA?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd like to see the people get the money. I'd like to see all of the money that's going to the Democrat insurance companies. You know, the insurance companies are making a fortune. They're up 1,700% and more. And they're taking in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, even trillions of dollars. And Obamacare gives you terrible health care. Just so you understand, Obamacare was set up, and I said it right from the beginning, for the benefit of the health insurance companies, of the insurance companies. They're making billions and billions of dollars. Their stock is through the roof. I don't want to give them anything. I want all money going to the people and let the people buy their own health care. It'll be unbelievable. They'll do a great job. They'll get much better health care at a much lower cost.
Please, if this is your first time watching this video, please you can hit up the subscribe button, like and share this video for more videos like this to come in the future. Peace out.